welcome. I'm breathing wrong already. To another episode of the Friday Podcast with your host, Chris Chaos. What is it? I got a text. Man. Number 95. I'm feeling live. I'm in the clouds. I'm feeling proud. I'm gonna sing in front of crowds. I rap. I break it down. It's that hip hop, man. And I take it all around through the world to the galaxy, all through the universe. Haters talking shit, but they need to listen first. Every time I drop a motherfucking universe, it's a verse that got 16 hot bars. Shooting to the stars, rolling in some cars, sipping on some bar, but not even know anymore. I just puff on that dro, and if you haters wanna talk shit, it's okay. I'ma go into the atmosphere. Yo, get out of here. Man, we ain't got no fear. We ain't got no fear. I wanna shout out to the 88 subscribers and the viewers. Yo, if you watch clips, just subscribe. A lot of my viewers are not subscribers, which that's fine. You know, do what you want to do. But it helps. The comments help. Shout out to all the love. Shout out to the stories y'all shared with me. I love it. My back's been kind of, so I'm wearing my little back thing. And I just washed the dishes, and this is a really old shirt, but I try to make each episode look a little different. I need to buy new t-shirts. Anyway, cheers. It's a bamboo straw my mom got from Hawaii. I wonder if I can focus in on it. It's pretty cool. Man, hold up. I'm sipping from a straw. I go hard, I leave haters all in all. Man, I be throwing up them paws. Might have to knock off your jaws. Leave them on pause. Leave them on pause. Then I wait for the applause. Fuck you and your cause. If you tryna be too woke, sometimes you go too broke. And if you try to be too conservative, you might suffer. I don't know why I was just going like that. To the Green Party. All right. Random questions. Have you ever come to a crossroads in your life? And what were the two paths? I kind of went through this. I was kind of at a crossroad with, I need to turn this down because we're not partying no more. The show's starting. So when me and my son's mom decided to split up, it was kind of a mutual agreement that for the best of his future and our happiness, it was better for us to go our separate ways. That was sort of a crossroads. And an opinion. Alright. What three things do you think of most each day? The podcast. My son. And maybe a crush or a love interest. That's when I think of the people. Those are the three people. Right? Wait, what did I say? My son. Three things you think most about. Getting off of work. God. Myself. I don't know. I can't. It's hard to. All right. Three things I think most about. Y'all try to do that at home too, but that's a hard question to answer. Often I'm thinking about, the podcast was the first thing. And then I'm trying to think about, I try to stay present and in the moment. So I'm constantly thinking, go with the flow. It's okay. Don't let it get to you. And then if it starts getting to me, I try to be like, okay, you need a break. You need some water. You need some food. You need to meditate, medicate, something. Step back, drink some water. Or maybe you need to take an early lunch, take a nap. And unwind and take off your shoes in your car. So the podcast, and then what the current situation in, and then besides that, it's like in the morning I'm thinking all about my son. And then it's at work, I'm thinking mostly about just work. And then maybe every once in a while I think about love or something. And then I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do when I get home. Would you travel to space if possible? Interesting. I don't think I would go with Elon Musk or Bezos, but I would go if I felt like Michael the Archangel came back, or it was some kind of spiritual thing, and like Enoch. So maybe. What does creativity mean to you? Is it free flowing, or does it involve your heart and soul? Oh, I think it's both. Sometimes it just comes from the universe, I guess, but it also, to be a good conductor of it, you gotta have heart and soul and actually care about it. I have the window open, so I want this fly to go over here. Get out of here, fly. True fly. So what does creativity mean to me? Creativity is, to me, our most godly ability to create. But we get that from God, obviously. You know, the creator, the father, or mother, whatever you want to call her. And it rhymes. Where is one place you'd never be seen? Bottom of the ocean, as far as I could tell. What or who do you sympathize with? I mean, I try to sympathize with everybody, and all animals and all creatures, and even trees and the earth. I try, but you know, you don't want to overwhelm yourself because there's only so much you can control. But to sympathize just means to acknowledge, I think, sometimes. Would you feel any different if you suddenly found out you were adopted? No, I don't think so. It'd be interesting. I would feel a little different, like oh, what's my ancestry? But other than that, I mean, it wouldn't change anything, really. What was the best present you received? My son. And life. And knowledge and wisdom. And an introduction to the Creator. If you were Prime Minister / ruler of the world, what laws would you make? What laws would I make? No internment camps, because there's still internment camps in certain places of the world. No child labor, because there's still child labor in many parts of the world. Yeah, there'd be more, but those two for sure. No more internment camps or slave labor, no more child labor. Have you... now there are some things that happen that are illegal, but I think those things will be illegal in the world. Trafficking people and stuff. Have you ever been stood up for a date? Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was like 8, at the apartments I used to stay at in North Dallas, there was this girl, I think her name was Marissa, and she said she was gonna come over, but I guess her mom didn't let her or something. She didn't show up, and I got dressed up,
You know what I mean? I brushed my hair and shit, and she didn't show up. And my mom recalls this vividly. She says that I was upset, and I was like, well, she said she was gonna come. She's like, well, she's not in control. Like, her mom might have not let her. And I just kind of couldn't get it. I was like, nah, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. It's crazy. I was just a kid. Have you ever helped someone through a breakup? And if so, how did you help? I think so. At least I was part of helping. And I think it just by listening. But actually listening and putting consoling words and uplifting words and positive energy, and I think that's the main goal. Do you like ice in your drinks? Yes, but it's suspicious sometimes because I always hear the horror stories about the ice not being like clean in fast food restaurants. But I remember when my son was a kid, I was like, I was like, nah, let's not get ice because it could be dirty. And then another time he's like, I don't care if the ice is dirty, I want ice. I was like, all right, fuck it. How are you? I mean, because, at a certain point, it's like, are we going to worry about everything we eat, too? Like, that's throwing a prayer, and it usually helps. It's also like manifestation, if you believe. If you ask, you shall receive. How are your manners? Do you say please and thank you? I think I have good manners. I try to say please and thank you as much as possible. Yeah. I mean, like, even like with traffic, I try to be fair, but I'm not gonna just let everybody go. Like, if we're taking turns, I let one person go, and then I'm gonna scoot up so that maybe it's up to them to let you in now, because we're taking turns. I'm not letting the whole fucking world go in. I'm thinking about this morning because of traffic, dropping my son off at high school. Bro, dropping a kid off in high school is crazy. Because you got kids just fucking walking around, going this way and that way, and riding bikes, and then you got their parents in traffic, and then the kids are in traffic. It's just like, it's wild. What is it's cool. I like taking my son to school. I love it, but it's an interesting experience. What is one of your favorite photos, and what is the sentiment attached? Just recently, I took an ID photo at work, and I decided this year to take it without my glasses because I always take them with my glasses, and I guess there's always a glare, so they make me like tilt my head down, so I always come out with like a double chin. Which, no disrespect if you have a double chin, it's just like I don't usually look like that, and they make me go like this, and I just didn't like my pictures. So this time I tried not to squint. Like, I'm looking at the camera right now, and I see a peach blob, and I see lines. I look like a caveman, or like one of those Far Side characters. I just see a line and a couple lines. But the picture I took for work, I like it. Because I didn't wear glasses, and they didn't make me go like this. Because I see it, because, the glare. But, yeah. Alright, moving on. So, last time, last time I talked about, in my intro, I talked about a dream that I had. And, decided to try to see what I could find online to interpret it. So let's see what we got. So, to dream of a vacation, it means that your life is not dull and stagnant, but a constant journey that leads you to different destinations. Traditionally, vacation dreams are thought to represent the desire to go on a trip and signal a needed break from your daily routine. That's from shuteye.ai. TheDreamBible.com says, to dream of a vacation represents a temporary distraction or change. You've done something that totally changes your mindset and may not expect it to last. ThePleasantDream.com says that dreams about going on vacations imply that you'll receive multiple opportunities and routes to reach your goals in your waking life. TheList.com says, according to Female First, it is crucial to consider that people that accompany you on your vacation, family members, your significant other, a friend, or even your colleagues, your dream might symbolize that you need to spend more quality time with that person, or that they need you for help, advice, or just a bit of fun and adventure. Dream about vacation with family is an indication for the opening of the self and the need for emotional healing. You have come to some understanding. You are able to carry yourself from one situation to another with confidence. Your dream is a clue for wealth and materialism. You are headstrong about proceeding forth on an issue. That's from dreamsopedia.com. A vacation trip is a favorable dream image indicating profitable work or improvement of your financial situation. Seeing vacation with a number of friends guarantees you a period of entertainment and having a good time without any commitments. And that was from checkmydream.com. So I try to look at the positive aspects because I don't even want to look at the negative aspects of a dream because if we can manifest, right? Why even manifest the negative interpretation? What is this? Oh, an image. Okay. Angel number of the week, 343. Angelnumber.org says that 343 is a powerful angelic number message that comes as both a support and a lesson. Angels want to encourage you, nurture and develop all the positive traits you have at the cost of bad ones. You should also be aware that people can never be perfect, so do not be afraid to make mistakes on your path of learning. Embrace yourself the way you are. Sunsigns.org says that angel number 343 is a reminder from the spiritual realm that you did everything it takes to come this far, and that is your happiness. In other words, you should appreciate yourself for managing your time well. More so, you are wise because you created decisions that brought greatness to your life. OAPublishingLondon.com says that the power of angel number 343 is quite similar to that of angel number 34. However, as the angelic number 343 possesses both of the qualities of 3, it has increased power. As a result, having this number is a reflection of your high level of creativity and vitality. Synchronicity, because we were talking about creativity earlier. Angelnumber.co says that the numerological meaning of angel number 343 is, that was a title. So 343 is the number of change and growth. The number 3 represents change, growth, and action, while 4 represents efforts. Angel number 343 can be written as the sum of the numbers 3 plus 4 equaling 7, which is a very significant number in numerology. AngelManifest.com says, when you hear angels and ascended masters, be grateful for their support. Angel number 343 means that you are an earth angel, fully supported by the heavens and the ascended master. Please get help from them. The meaning of the angel number of 434 was as above, understanding that asking for help is never a weakness or shame. AngelNumberMeanings.com says that 343 is an interesting combination of numbers. 3 brings high intellectual powers, but also curiosity, strength, and joy of life. In this case, 3 appears 2 times, and its vibrations are doubled. Interesting. Alright, so running out of animals, but there's always going to be a spirit animal or something, and if not, I'll just move on to something else. But I did think of this one because I get hyped when I see one when I'm driving. This is the old school, the tip them over, the ones that poop and grow shrooms from their poop, the cow. Moo. Alright. RichardALois.com says that the cow symbolism stands for fertility, abundance, and prosperity in many cultures. Today, however, most people do not associate cows with positive feelings. They are seen as dirty, smelly, and even dangerous. In fact, they have been known to cause accidents by running into traffic or getting stuck in machinery. I don't remember copying that one. That was a negative one. WhatIsMySpiritAnimal.com says, those who know cow as their totem animal supply a sense of stability and solid, loving, growth-oriented relationships with self, others, and the environment. Cow people, which is probably not a good thing to say, have the ultimate mother's intuition. They can feel what others are when others are out of sorts, when their auras are scratchy, and they always seem to know just what to say or do to help. Spirit-Animals.com says that the cow symbolism reminds you that your progress towards your goal protects the environment, its inhabitants, and the emotional balance of those around you. Thus, this spirit animal reminds you to consider your next move carefully. Alternatively, cow's meaning is reminding you that it is essential to give while you are receiving. I remember that one. That stood out to me. To give while you are receiving. SodaLightMinds.com says, the cow can represent patience, nourishment, female power, potential, possibility, beginnings, and calm. Much like the deer, they are a positive symbol in life. The cow has been a symbol of fertility, growth, and nurturing in many cultures around the world for thousands of years. Now this one I thought was super interesting. What's-your-sign.com. In Vedic literature, the cow is a symbol of, okay, not this part, of abundance and fertility, as it represents both earth and sky. Oh, that's tight. But to Hindus and Buddhists, symbolism of the cow deals with patience and holiness. It is considered India's most sacred animal. The calm, tender nature of the cow wins this right among the Buddhists. Moo, moo, moo. Alright, take a quick break. We'll be right back with anxiety news.
Welcome to Anxiety News with Christopher Chaos. Today on Anxiety News, from TimesNowNews.com, breakfast is a must for your baby. Study says skipping the first meal may give children anxiety later. As if there wasn't already enough stuff to give kids anxiety. This is from, I'm reading verbatim. Among the most important results, Lopez Gill and the team found that eating breakfast away from home was nearly as detrimental as skipping the meal entirely. I don't know about that. The author suggests that this may be because meals away from home are frequently less nutritious, like McDonald's, Whataburger, than those prepared at home. Skipping breakfast or eating breakfast away from home is associated with increased likelihood of psychosocial behavioral problems in children and adolescents. A recent study found that young people who eat healthy breakfasts at home have higher psychosocial health. While earlier research has indicated the importance of a nutritious breakfast, this is the first study to investigate the reported effects of whether or not children eat breakfast, as well as where and when and what they consume. These findings offer useful insights and advice for parents and their children. The findings of the research were published in the journal Frontiers in Nutrition. Our results suggest that it is not only important to eat breakfast, but it's also important where young people eat breakfast and what they eat, said first author Dr. Jose Francisco Lopez Gil of the University of Castilla-La Mancha in Cuenca, Spain. Skipping breakfast or eating breakfast away from home is associated with increased likelihood of psychosocial, and keep saying that, behavioral problems in children and adolescents. Similarly, consumption of certain foods, drinks are associated with higher, ergo processed meat, or lower, ergo dairy, cereals, odds of psychosocial behavioral problems.
Breakfast Matters. In this study, Lopez Gil and his collaborators analyzed data from the 2017 Spanish National Health Survey. This survey included questionnaires both about breakfast habits as well as children's psychosocial health, which included characteristics such as self-esteem, mood, and anxiety. The questionnaires were completed by the children's parents or guardians, and the results included a total of 3,772 Spanish residents between the ages of 4 and 14. Among the most important results, Lopez Gil and the team found that eating breakfast away from home was nearly as detrimental as skipping the meal entirely. The author suggests that this may be because meals away from home are frequently less nutritious than those prepared at home. The results also showed that coffee, milk, tea, chocolate, cocoa, yogurt, bread, toast, cereals, and pastries were all associated with lower chances of behavioral problems. Surprisingly, eggs, cheese, and ham were linked with higher risks of such issues beyond nutrition. Although the study is limited to Spain, these findings are consistent with research performed elsewhere. The availability of nutritious breakfast at schools would likely influence the results in some locations. But other factors, such as the social and family support that young people can receive during breakfast at home, may also play a role in the observed benefits. The authors emphasize the need for further studies to understand the cause and effect relationships behind their observations, but they still suggest the usefulness of these results. The fact that eating breakfast away from home is associated with greater psychosocial health problems is a novel aspect of our study, says Lopez Gil. Our findings reinforce the need to promote not only breakfast as part of a healthy lifestyle routine, but also that it should be eaten at home. Also, to prevent psychosocial health problems, a breakfast that includes dairy and/or cereals and minimizes certain animal foods high in saturated fat and cholesterol could help to decrease psychosocial health problems in young people. Whoa, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Breakfast gets a lot of hate, but it's pretty important. And we see why even more so. And I was just sitting on this. We'll be right back.
Alright, welcome back. We are at the movies, aka the house, because I'm doing a series review today. Hell on Wheels. This is a throwback, but I used to talk about this and I only got to talk about it again. Oh, I just thought I'm gonna have to do Timeless. Hell on Wheels. So first, I'm gonna go into technicalities, and then I'll get into what I say about it. So Hell on Wheels is an American/Canadian Western television series about the construction of the first transcontinental railroad across the United States, which broadcast in the US and Canada on the cable channel AMC from November 6, 2011 to July 23rd, 2016. The series, which features Anson Mount, Cole Meany, Common, and Dominique McElligott, chronicles the Union Pacific Railroad and its laborers, mercenaries, prostitutes, surveyors, and others who lived, worked, and died in the mobile encampment called Hell on Wheels that followed the railhead west across the Great Plains. So this is based on true stories, true events. Where's that man fly? I feel like I heard it. You heard that? It went bzz, 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 bzz. In particular, the story focuses on Colin Bohannon, which is Anson Mount, a former Confederate soldier who initially joins the railroad to track down the Union soldiers who murdered his wife and young son during the American Civil War. Now, this is probably fabricated and maybe influenced by true events, but I don't think there's a particular person that they're going off of on this. In the process, he becomes a foreman and eventually chief engineer on the railroad. The series was created and produced by Joe and Tony Gaiton, and developed by Endemol USA under the stewardship of Senior Vice President of Scripted Programming Jeremy Gold, and it's produced by Entertainment One and Nomadic Pictures. In 2012, AMC announced creators Joe and Tony Gaiton were no longer, hey, cats, outside, I'll be there in a minute. We're no longer involved in the day-to-day production of the series. On December 12th, 2012, AMC announced that writer John Wirth would take over as showrunner for the 3rd season. Yo, that date? A lot of us thought that was the end of the world. No, it was December 21st, 2012. That was crazy. So season 1 begins in 1865, shortly after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Season 2 covered 1866. Seasons 3 and 4 opened in 1867. Season 5 carried the series into 1869. So the main article, season 1. So in 1865, former Confederate soldier Colin Bohannon journeys to the Union Pacific Railroad. 1 second. And railroad's westward construction of the first transcontinental railroad. Seeking both work and vengeance on the Union soldiers who killed his wife and son. He gets hired by the railroad and supervises an all-black cut crew, including Elam, which is played by Common, whose job is to prepare the terrain for track laying. Through conversation with railroad foreman Daniel Johnson, played by Ted Levine, Colin learns more about his wife's death. But tragedy strikes before Johnson reveals her killer's name. Thomas Doc Durant, which is based on a true character, begins his mad, noble quest to expand his Union Pacific westward in order to complete the Transcontinental Railroad. Lily Bell accompanies her ailing husband, Robert, as he surveys the landscape for the Union Pacific when Robert is killed by the Cheyenne natives. Lily must cope with being a widow on foreign soil. Reverend Nathaniel Cole baptizes Joseph Black Moon at Cheyenne, then takes him under his tutelage in the church. Season 1 ends with Bohannon killing a man he believes was responsible for the rape and murder of his wife, only to discover that the man was not there at the time. Season 2, Bohannon tries to find himself again while continuing to drive the westward expansion of the Union Pacific Railroad under Durant's leadership. Bohannon takes up with a gang of train robbers, but is turned over to the Union Army and imprisoned. Durant manages to get him pardoned. The railroad construction enters the Sioux territory, where the Swede and a misguided Reverend Cole assist the natives in attacking the railroad. Lily Bell seeks to gain control of the railroad from Durant and mails his accounting ledgers to the government. Army officers arrive to find the town has been attacked by the Sioux. Season 3. Bohannon abandons his quest to avenge his wife and son's deaths in order to battle Durant for control of the Union Pacific Railroad. Eva gives birth to a baby who was sired during her marriage to Gregory Toole. Elam proposes marriage to her. Now, we talked about Eva. She was the one that had the first white woman to have a Native American tattoo, and we covered her. I'll put a link in the description. She gives birth to a baby who was sired during her marriage to Gregory Toole. Toole ends up killing himself because he sees her with Elam. Elam proposes marriage to her, even though her postpartum depression weighs heavily on her. The Swede takes up with the Mormon family on their way to the fictional Fort Smith and later reveals his true nature. Season 4. Conflict arises among the government and businesses, ranchers, homesteaders, and the railroad as all of those interests compete with one another for control of Cheyenne, Wyoming, the most important railroad hub in 1867. Meanwhile, the Union Pacific Railroad continues its expansion westward, and Bohannon adjusts to being a father and a husband again. Season 5. Set in California and Laramie, Wyoming, Bohannon is hired by the Central Pacific Railroad, which was the competitor to the Union Pacific, to build the Transcontinental Railroad eastward over the Sierra Nevada mountains. He befriends his Chinese workers, including May, a woman disguised as a man known as Fong. President Ulysses S. Grant increases the competition between the Central Pacific
and Union Pacific Railroad companies. This is further complicated by Thomas Durant's corruption. I guess that's it. So, what do you think? Now, this is what I said. The creation of the Transcontinental Railroad in the aftermath of the Civil War follows a former Southern soldier who ends up working with former slaves that were still indentured, Irish immigrants, and in the last season, when working from California, Chinese immigrants. Now, the slaves were still indentured because there was times where, like, they would end up going back somewhere. Like, they were, like, from temp agencies, but the temp agency still owned them in a way. So they had to go back. Like, if they would go to jail probably because they still owed money. They weren't free yet. It was really weird. There was also a Norwegian that they called the Swede who helped destroy the town. He gave guns to the Sioux. We see the rise and fall of a couple Irish brothers. The McGinnis brothers were really cool. One of them got real successful. One of them fucked up. And he got successful and just kept going along with the railroad towns. Common plays a former slave who ends up being friends with Bohannon, who's the main character played by Anson Mount, aka Black Bolt. There's love, chaos, some humorous moments, action, heart. There's no lame happily ever afters here, but the people that survived at the end were that much more important. Based on true events, but the main story is probably not real. 5 stars. Badass. We'll be right back. Bye-bye. Yeehaw! Man, I thought I had a cowboy hat, but I do got a cowboy hat with this. Wild Wild West, tied to the Matt and Shane Secret Podcast. Wild Wild West, tied to them cowboys. We'll be right back with Badass Woman in Herstory, who's another cowboy. Well, I mean cow person, but not a cow. Man, so much synchronicity. So much with the cows today. Shout out to cows. See for cows. Wait. Cow Chris. Anyway, we'll be back.
All right. Badass Women in Herstory. Fanny Porter. So, this is a kind of a short article I got from True West Magazine.com. At the turn of the 20th century, Fanny Porter was running one of the most luxurious brothels in Texas. Yeehaw, motherfuckers. She was born in England in February 1873, but moved to the United States with her family when she was just 1 year old. By the time she was 15, she was working as a prostitute. Jesus. That's crazy. In San Antonio. And by the time she was 20, she had her own brothel. Sometime during those years, was married but soon widowed. I don't know why my phone turned dark. It seems like I definitely have enough battery. But whatever. I hope it's recording well. I'm gonna read this regular. By the time that's not even regular. By the time the Wild Bunch was making their way to San Antonio in the late 1800s, she welcomed the outlaws into her establishment. Broski. I gotta get into the Wild Bunch because I don't even know who that is. Her bordello advertised itself as a boarding house. The house was said to have boasted fine glass fixtures, silk sheets, and plush carpeting. And for her special customers, including members of the Wild Bunch, she served chill champagne. For several years, the brothel served as a rest stop, hideout, rendezvous, and headquarters for Butch Cassidy and the rest of the hole-in-the-wall gang. In fact, it was there that Harry Longabaugh, better known as the Sundance Kid, is thought to have met Etta Place. According to some accounts, the beautiful Etta was working at Fanny's place as either a prostitute,
and it was Longbaugh who set her up as a teacher so she could start a new life. How about that? Harvey Logan, known as Kid Curry. Whoa. Also, man, I was thinking Kid Cudi. Kid Curry. It's like an Indian Kid Cudi. Also met his girl, Annie Rogers, at Fanny's brothel. Among the other Wild Bunch girls was Lawyer Boyan, Lily Davis, and Della Moore, a.k.a. Annie Rogers. After her lover, Harvey Logan, a.k.a. Kid Curry, was killed, she returned to Fanny's place, and after her days as a prostitute, she became a school teacher. Fanny attracted only the prettiest girls to work in her brothel. They practiced good hygiene and were dressed in the finest apparel. Now, this is all from this magazine, yo. I didn't write this shit. And I'm just reading the accent that they wrote it in. By 1895, Fanny's establishment was one of the most popular in the entire West. Wild, Wild West. Though Fanny was well connected and operated the brothel for the most part without interference from the law, she does show an arrest for vagrancy in the late 1880s. Vagrancy was the term generally used in police reports to describe prostitution at the time. On the other hand, Fanny, who was described as a hard and shrewd woman, was also known to chase police officers from her place with a broom. The bitch was crazy. No offense. When the census was taken in 1900, Fanny's boarding house was called home to 5 women, ranging in age from 19 to 24. The last time, see, that's at least, because she started young. Whoever the fuck started her off young, that was fucked up. But at least in her, she was like, nope, 19 and up only, no 50. Because she knew, even back then in the Wild, Wild West, Fanny Porter fucking knew that at least, you know what I'm saying, wait. The last time the Wild Bunch is known to have visited her brothel was February 1901. A lot of February coincidences. That's my birthday. When they were between the bank robberies in Winnemucca, Nevada, and Wagner, Montana. With the law on their heels, the gang planned to split up and head in different directions. But before they rode out for the last time, Fanny threw them a growing away party. Not long after, the Wild Bunch were either rounded up or left the country. Moral reform began to turn. They probably went to Mexico. Moral reform began to turn against openly operating brothels. Fanny closed her house and faded from history. No one really knows what happened to old Fanny Porter. But we know she's resting in peace now. Yeehaw. Oh, shit, my drink. That's what I get. All right, appreciate y'all for joining. Let me turn the tunes up and we'll wrap this up. On the road to 100 episodes and on the road to 100 subscribers and to hundreds of thousands more. Much love. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. Please like, subscribe, comment. You know what I'm saying? It's all appreciated. Sorry, I'm looking at how much mess I got to clean up. And if it went to the floor, it actually didn't fall on the floor. So that's pretty cool. This has been your boy, X Chaos, in the building. I'll see y'all next time. One love.